Working in retail is never easy, especially when you have to deal with a bunch of crazies. Welcome to this episode of Tales from Retail. Our first one is from Philosophical. I, 19 female, have dealt with a lot of angry customers, but none as bad as this woman. I was in the sales floor at the clothing store I work at when this woman comes up to me and says that she wants the blue pants the mannequin is wearing because they're her size and they're the only ones in the color she wants. Now, I don't mean to sound rude, but the pants were not her size, especially since my store has the display pants specifically tailored for mannequins. I inform her that those pants are display only and I can't get them for her. We should be getting more colors soon, etc. But she's not having it and demands I get her those exact pants. I try one more time to tell her, but she screams at me, "Just get your fucking manager!" I page my manager and she comes down shortly after. The customer points at me and angrily says, "Why are your employees so fucking retarded that they can't even sell a pair of pants?" I'm pretty much in tears at this point, and my manager is trying to explain to the woman again, but she just won't listen. After a couple minutes, my manager sighs and asks the woman what size exactly she needs. "A 6, she says, and my manager goes to the mannequin, looks at the size label on the pants. Guess what? It's a size 2, and they're not even real pants. They're pinned together. The woman goes pale and stammers, I saw they were a 6. I could have sworn they were." She hastily apologizes and leaves without the pants. I don't think there's anything more joyous than a Karen getting her due, and in this situation, well, she got her due and didn't get the pants. Our next tale is by Arion W. Happened to me a few years ago, my first part-time job in university that I recently got reminded of. It was quite fun. Rarely did we have any problems with customers. Due to very specific business, most were in a very good mood. We had this subscription service where you could pay a monthly fee for a card that got you huge discounts. If you were a frequent customer, it was beyond a good deal. These discounts had a few minor restrictions, however, nothing crazy, but got many customers confused. Usually, we'd just explain it to them and they were fine with it. One such restriction was, you can't pay with cash. In our country, and especially at our location, cash is such a rare occurrence that for average transaction handling, it costs more than card service fees. Then one day comes the angry customer. It was late shift. I was supposed to close in 10 minutes, and as you all likely figured out, he wants to pay with cash using the discount card. I told him that he can't and explained the policy. He told me he doesn't care and basically went back and forth for a few minutes. Finally, my manager arrives to count my till for closing, walks over to the customer and asks what's the problem, repeats what I said and just tells him he can either pay with card, pay with cash without discounts, or leave because we're closing. He finally chooses option 1. Why did you even argue when you had the card on you? I ask him to touch the terminal with his card, and he decides to push my manager away with his arm. My manager said nothing, smiled, counted my till, and I was on my way. That was strange because she's not one to take this lightly. I expected hell to break loose. However, when I was checking in next weekend, she pulled me away and told me that she contacted corporate and not only canceled his card, but also banned him from all locations countrywide, along with a nice email about how grateful he should be she's not pressing charges for assault. I can almost guarantee this person came in at the end of the day at closing specifically to try to pull a fast one, and when they didn't get their way, well, they ended up getting banned, which is perfect. Our next tale is from Not a Sir. This happened to me a few years ago now. I've never been able to forget it. One of those weird things that just sticks with you. I was working in the gift shop at a zoo to get me by while I was in college. The shop was pretty big. From one end, you can't really see the other end. There's one checkout next to the entrance. It's kind of on its own at that side of the shop. Then there's the 3 main checkouts at the other end of the shop by the exit. This is all important. On to the story. So one day, I'm stood at the checkout by the entrance. I like working on that one because it's never busy. People don't normally walk through the whole shop, then go back to the entrance to pay. It's an odd place to have a checkout, but I'm not complaining. Easy day for me. Anyway, this guy walks out of the zoo and into the shop. He immediately turns and looks at me. "Is this checkout open?" "Yes, is there something you're looking for?" He doesn't respond and just walks back out the shop and back into the zoo. Bit weird, I thought. A guy just walked straight into the shop, asks if a checkout is open, then walks out. I didn't really think anything more of it and carried on working. About half an hour later, my manager comes over and asks me to cash up and go to take over from someone at one of the main checkouts. I cash up and close the checkout. I turn all the lights off, put a cover over the desktop, and put out the sign that tells people to pay at the exit. All pretty clear signs that the checkout isn't open, especially the literal sign. A while later, I'm working at the main checkouts and this guy comes stomping up. I realize it's the same guy that came in like an hour ago asking if the checkout was open. You know where this is going. "I've been stood waiting at that checkout for 20 minutes. "Sorry, sir, that checkout has been closed. You can pay here though." "Well, you told me it was open. Now you've wasted my time." Again, I apologize, but we closed that checkout. Guy now more annoyed. "Well, I came in before and you told me that it was open. You lied to me." "Sir, the checkout was open an hour ago. Since then, we've closed it. There is a sign that says to pay over here." "Well, I didn't see any sign. How am I supposed to know it's closed? And why would you close it after telling me it's open?" At this point, I've had enough. How clueless is this guy? Who in their right mind comes into a shop an hour beforehand to see if a checkout's open? Things aren't going to be the same an hour later. How could he not tell that it was closed? Every other customer had no issue with seeing that. Did he not notice flocks of people walking past with items to pay at the other end? I'm sorry for the inconvenience. Again, we closed that checkout a little while ago. I'll see what we can do about making it more obvious that the checkout is closed. "It's just poor customer service. You've wasted my time here. Your management are going to know about this. Just check me out so I can leave." Me, thought it best to not actually say this aloud. You're damn right they will. My manager's gonna love this one. Never a dull day. Never a dull day when you're dealing with dullards like this guy. I'm sure it gave you and your boss as well as the other coworkers just a good laugh. Hopefully he didn't come back in and cause problems in the future. Our next tale is by Lunar Confusion. I work in a small gas station convenience store. You have to prepay for gas here, and I only mention this because I have an Australian friend who thought that was odd. It caused some confusion with another story the other day. Man comes in, asks for $15 in gas. I punch it in and he pulls out this small zipper pouch. Oh, he's one of those that fold or roll their bills real tiny. Annoying, but I can make them flat enough running them on the edge of the counter. Imagine my disappointment as he opens it, 150 coins spilling onto the counter. All dimes. This man wants to pay for gas all in loose dimes. Now, I'm not allowed to simply trust people on what they say the amount they've given me is. I have to count every last bit of it. So as I'm counting it out, this man pulls out his wallet for some unknown reason, and I can see that he has plenty of other money. But I'm already $8 in, I might as well finish, and don't feel like arguing with him. I finish counting and sure enough, it was exactly $15. He leaves to pump his dime gas, chuckling over his conversation with the man who was waiting behind him. I'm left with multiple questions, but no answers. What possesses a man to do this, other than the desire to screw with someone just because they can? Does his family just give him all their dimes for some reason? Did he horribly misunderstand the term dime bag? How does one end up with that many dimes without purposely seeking them out to pull this sort of thing? In the end, I'm just glad they were all clean, not sticky and covered in gunk. You ask what possesses someone to do that? I think it's just to see if someone's actually going to count out and take the time to count all the change. And on that one chance that somebody doesn't, then they pull a fast one. However, in this situation, he might have just genuinely wanted to get rid of his change. And our final tale is from Mama Joe Socks. I was a cashier at a store called Buyout Outlet. The store sold almost everything, but the stock was completely random. On this day, my first customer was a guy. I ring up his items and he pays with a card, which usually isn't a problem. Sometimes the card reader can be slow, and I wait for the confirmation screen before I tell people to take the card out. He pulls his card too early and completely glitches the system. It takes a solid 3 minutes before I can get it working again. The whole time, he's blaming me, saying that I should have warned him, that our system was crap. My manager's on the register behind me and can hear this guy. I turn around and look him dead in the eyes as the customer tells me to hurry up. My manager says, "Don't do it. Don't you dare." He was telling me not to quit on the spot. I had already put in my 2 weeks. I get through the transaction and the customer says, "That wasn't hard now, was it?" If the manager wasn't an amazing person, I seriously would have walked out. There were only 3 employees that night, including the manager, and I was the only cashier. It always bothers me when people go into a store and just act like they can treat the employees like their personal shitting pad. I don't know why or what compels them to think being disrespectful to an employee is smart, but I know if they were in the employee's shoes, they wouldn't want someone like them attacking them. Alright, that's enough tales for the day. Well, that wraps up this episode of Tales from Retail. If you liked the video, please drop a like, share my content on all of your social media, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to hit that bell so you're notified every time I upload, and drop a comment down below. Thanks for watching, thanks to my patrons, have a great day and stay safe out there.